Well, I'm drawing a sky today, and I'm using lecturer's chalk, which, if you're familiar with pastel, it's similar to that, but the sticks are a lot larger and a lot softer. And so I'm going to walk you through the process of just drawing a cloudy sky. Now, I've started with just plain white. I'm working on something called gray bogus paper, and it's traditionally what chalk artists work with. And so I'm just laying in my basic colors in this first part. This is going to be a two-part video, and this part is just going to be getting the basic colors in. Now, the nice thing about lecturer's chalk, it's very large. It's 3 inches long by 1 inch square, and its main difference from pastels is it's a lot softer. When you pick it up, it almost feels like you don't have anything in your hand. It's that light and that airy, and the consistency is almost a buttery consistency. It's very soft, and as you can see, I can cover a lot of ground pretty quickly. The surface I'm working on is 54 inches wide by 40 inches tall, so it's pretty substantial. Now I'm going to lay in some dark blue in the top part of the sky. And again, right now, what I want to do, I'm not worrying too much about shapes. I'm just laying in color. And then I'm going to come back and do some blending. But the dark blue is going to give us the deeper color in the high up in the sky. And then I'm going to add a little on the sides here just to begin to get a little bit more definition. If you're wondering why so much white through the main part of the sky, when I do a performance chalk drawing, I always add a little bit of a blacklight picture in the sky, something that's invisible that you can't see until I turn on a blacklight. And I have to put in a lot of white to conceal that. So that's why there's such a big white area. If you're just doing a straight landscape, you wouldn't necessarily want to do that. But that's part of what's necessary in blacklight chalk art. Now I'm coming in with light blue, and again, just going over, I'm basically toning the bottom part of the paper. And once I finish with that light blue, I'm going to come back in with a little bit more of the medium blue. In chalk art, it's that middle color that I used is actually called turquoise, although it's not a true turquoise because it doesn't have any greenish feel to it. So now I'm coming back in. That is the turquoise. Now I'm going to come in with the dark blue, and I do have another blue. It's a blue violet that is a little darker value, but I'm not using that in this particular drawing. Now once I have all of my base color laid in, I'm going to start blending it, and I start with an old felt eraser. It does a great job of just blending and mixing these colors, bringing them together a little bit so that I can have a nice toned surface. Add a little gradation there at the bottom. When I start getting into more refined areas, I use the corner of the brush rather than just its flat surface. And at this point, I'm also going to do a little shaping. And again, I'm not looking for my final detail yet, but I do want to add a little bit of shape to some of these clouds before I begin some serious blending, particularly in the white. And then up at the top, again, I'm going to use primarily the end and the corner to just quickly come in, smooth that out. And once that's done, the next step will be to blend the white and the blue. So for this part, I actually do the blending by hand. I try to get as much off. Sometimes I'll wash my hand, but I'm going to be touching a lot of the blue at this point. I don't want to get too much blue into that large white area because I'm going to be drawing on top of that later. But right now I just want to blend the blue and the white, get it all kind of smoothed out. And again, I tend to work from the outside in. And I'll go around the edges of the clouds first. Some chalk artists like to wear gloves, either latex or plastic gloves, so they don't get the chalk on their hands. I never have. I just prefer the feel of my hand on the paper and on the chalk, and I've tried using gloves before occasionally, and it just didn't work well. Okay, so that's part one. That's just laying in the basic color. Now I'm going to come back in part two, and I'm going to add a little bit of detail there, going to refine it, and I'll see you in the next video.